you saying that they were underrepresented?
Well, again, this isn't our study, right? But in this study, it shows that there's 3 handicap spots. They were occupied 3 different times during that period. And when I look at the, and if I look at the federal standards, I think there could be actually 1 in that entire parking lot. I can take away handicap spots.
Okay. So I have 2 questions and concerns. And please know the residents are here to speak. I will open it up after the commissioners' deliberations so that the public can have their chance to speak as well. So there's been a lot of requests from Wood, people that live on Wood for a one-way street because like Kensington and some other streets where it's very narrow. And so one way would accomplish a lot for them. So that request is still out there. And I'm worried that we're not considering that because the village board takes that up and decides that could be a factor in circulation patterns. It's not right now, so I don't think we can consider it. I just wanted to be known. And then the other question I had is there's 30 employees, and I think for a school, the code only talks about the employees, correct?
For the parking requirement is based on employees, correct?
Right, so I just want, I have a concern over the assumption of how many employees are actually going to be parking, and also how many parents will actually be parking. So that, the numbers are hard for me at this moment without further detail, because if Mustafa is correct in his calculations of spaces, you'll see that Wood, even in the traffic analysis, is completely parked up already at 5:15 at night. So there are no spaces on Wood. So that would mean, because of the circulation patterns of pickup, you'd be turning around a lot in people's driveways because there's no parking there, and in the morning there is, so parents will learn. And then so it shifts it really to Jarvis. And I see there's counts on Jarvis, and again, I haven't compared them with if you half them, what happens? But I feel like we're doing, they're pretty high here. If you look at the PM hours, if Mustafa is correct in saying it's more like 13, that doesn't include winter regulations. 400 feet in, you're already at 15 of the 13, 15, 14, 16, 15, 16. So I'm not confident that either Wood or Jarvis would be available for parking of parents. So one of the things we are consider is circulation patterns, and I'd like to hear more. Maybe if you explain that again from what you know. I think it's in here. You go in through the parking lot and you go right onto.
Correct, because the access to Wood is cut off by the new playground. So if you're entering the parking lot, you'd be required to turn south to exit on the Jarvis, and my understanding is you go east or west on Jarvis at that point, but that depends on how you're trying to, where you're going or where you're going to.
But if you were thinking you want to park on Wood, you would go there. It's parked up at 5:15, and so you turn around, correct? Or how would you get to Jarvis?
You can't exit back onto Oakland. It's one way in. So if you were in the parking lot, the only option to exit would be onto Jarvis.
What if you go into Wood? So you turn right into Wood, onto Wood.
Okay.
And it's parked up. Where do you go?
I imagine you keep going down Wood and you take a right on Murray to come around to Jarvis. I can't control what they're going to do. That'd be my assumption.
Unfortunately, okay. So, does anyone else have questions? Go ahead.
The proposal for Wood to make it one way, which way? One way.
I can't remember.
East or west?
Well, since Jarvis, you can only park on one side, you'd probably make that and west, right?
Well, Jarvis right now you can park on both sides.
Oh, is that the one?
Yeah, Jarvis you can park on both sides, just not Wood Church.
So what is?
And Wood is one side, on the north side. So you'd have to turn, so even if you wanted to park on Wood, you need to go in, turn in a driveway,
Turn around.
and then park on the north side because it's facing the wrong way. Unless you went onto Jarvis, left on Murray, and left on Wood, correct? Right, that's the only way you can get to that side. Was that all you guys, is it?
Yeah, we're just trying to understand if we made that one way.
Yeah, which
Like
way,
we
we can't
would be
remember. Or do you
westbound.
know?
I don't know, but I agree how they would be westbound facing the current parking. And that would, I don't know the origins of the request, but that would limit people from turning off
Right,
Oakland into the
probably west,
neighborhood. That was
that's my guess.
a concern.
Commissioner Conlon?
This was in our material from last month that was attached, that shows the for the parking structure, and it highlights public parking. But those two public parking spaces north of the proposed school are the Benji's lot and the Starbucks lot. That's really private property for those businesses. We really can't be, I don't think they took those spaces into account. But we just have to keep in mind that those spaces are not open to another business. And just regarding the parking on one side, turning around, that's what we have on Delaware Avenue, north of Capitol where I live. There are only two driveways on my block. I'm the first one. And you kind of get used to it, but we have at least 30 cars a day. Pull into our driveway, back up so they can park on our side of the street. But from what I saw today, I mean, Downer narrows north of Capitol than it is south, but it is still wider than Wood Street. So when the residents emailed about their concerns with cars kind of whipping into the driveway, to back out, I can understand what their concerns are. The people are not going to go on to get to that side, they're just going to pull into the driveway.
Commissioner Conlon, did you have a question?
I missed the last meeting, so I don't know, was there any discussion about where people, like where the parents, I mean, where they pulling from, it can't just be Shorewood, where, how far, what other communities, is a great question.
We did not have discussion with the applicant, like to respond of where your clients would come from.
I would agree that not everybody's coming from Shorewood, but I don't think that the applicant and the owner has a sense of east side to Fox Point. You know, I think this is a unique daycare situation, and I believe their spec is a daycare, it's not a school. It only holds kids under the age of preschool. So it could be 20 minutes or it could be 5 minutes. I don't think there's any way to qualify that until the applications are open.
And it's a Spanish immersion school, correct? So, or daycare, so that means, I mean, it could pull from Brookfield, it could pull from anywhere if there's not another facility that they're available.
Correct.
Just, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Talley.
How many, public parking spaces are available in the market, or that lot next to the market?
The structure?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 50 overnight public spaces that we permit out on 4 feet. And then there is it 25 for daytime?
That sounds,
Or is it 50? Yeah,
that sounds correct.
okay, I think it's 25 that we've signed, and it's 2 hours, it's 2 hour parking for more.
On the fourth floor.
On the 4th floor, correct. It may be conducive, as you read in your memo, if the village board was to take it up, it may be conducive for employee parking, but as the traffic study presented here in front of us, they don't think that that's a plausible parking space for a parent dropping off a kid. So they did not include those in their study, which makes sense. Commissioner, you. I can't see your name tag.
It's easier for me that way too. Are we able to make a motion contingent on the board doing something?
You can, right, correct? Sure.
And I don't have a motion right now, I was just thinking through this.
Commissioner Meyer?
I have some other questions, but they're really for the applicant to answer.
Okay.
Because we're focused on all the kids being there all day, dropped off in the morning, picked up in the evening. So I'm wondering, based on the other franchises of this business in Minnesota, how many students are there for a full day versus a half day? And are they there 5 days a week, or some parents trying to, only work part-time, so maybe the children are only there 3 days a week, and then those empty slots, are they like filled to capacity at all times? So there's always, a lot of cars in the morning, a lot in the evening. And then they had talked about I think some further information about during the summer, older children would be accepted in the summer. And so I wondered, well, aren't those younger kids there year-round?
Let's ask the applicant to move some of the kids on. Just remain in your address.
Nicholas Plummer, 2717 West 60th Street, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55410. Ma'am, the way it works is the centers in Minneapolis each have approximately 124 students, which is what this is modeled after. A lot of the students walk, and what it is full-time equivalents. So the center may have essentially 150 students enrolled, but some of them may only come 3 days, some of them may come 1 day. But the center's capacity on any given day is 124.
So, can I just clarify?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you had 2 half-day students, it would count in that 150, but you would count that as one of the 124, correct? Okay, so it's factored in.
Correct.
Does that help?
It does. So if there was someone who only wanted to drop off their child in the afternoon, you would try and fill that morning slot with someone who only wanted to come in the morning.
So the way the program is run, ma'am, in Minnesota, we don't have a 4K half-day program like you do in Wisconsin. So kids are there full days. We don't have half-days. But after investigating this area and finding out there is a 4K program, that is something that I'm open to, if that is what the community would like.
And what about during the summer? You said something about older students.
So the contractor that we used for our traffic study went by the national average he read out of his book, and ours is a much more localized entity. So the way it's operated is unique from anywhere else. So our kids are there year-round. They don't necessarily have a summer off, they don't have older kids. There's one location far north of Minneapolis in a city called Maple Grove that the center is at an old public library, and there was so much space there that was just unused that in order to fill that, the CEO of CASA decided to allow kids that didn't have anywhere to go in the summer to fill that classroom. But that is not what I'm intending to bring here, no ma'am.
One last question about that. Is there any way to make the business a success with fewer students? Because the traffic flow and parking seems to be the main concerns. Like if you had only 100 students, is there a breaking point where you decided 124, you gotta have?
I'd just like to clarify that. I had the same question that was coming next. And to clarify, to make it more detailed, was I haven't heard any opposition necessarily to the use. It has, we're looking at just the parking intensity. And so I think what Commissioner Kylie Miller is saying, it as well as my question is, would you be open, the intensity of the use, this is a very, very large daycare compared to a normal 60-person day, kid daycare. So is there any room in your pro forma to allow for, if the commission wanted to condition it upon that, to allow for less student enrollment?
I'm willing to discuss any and all options, but the size of the building for me to lease the entire place, this is the minimum amount of kids that I would need. If I was to reduce my number, I would have to reduce the square foot, which means that building, that other space would have to be rented to someone else. and now someone else is having that same problem. As far as parking for my staff, the state guideline only requires 20 staff members on site. I'm increasing that by 50% because I want a lower student to staff ratio. I want kids to get more attention. So I bumped that up to 30. Now I can back that back if that's what it would take for for the body to find this to be acceptable. But for the purpose of the children getting as much attention and, care as possible, I wanted to increase more than what's required by the state guideline. The other thing to take into consideration is that when I spoke with Mustafa and I spoke with John, my traffic engineer, they never took into account that we have 3 shifts. The first 12 staff members show up at 7:15. The kids start arriving at 7:30. So that means of those 30 slots, they have them pegged for being occupied the entire time. The staff isn't even on site. There's still 18 staff members that aren't there when drop-off starts. The following staff members show up at 8:15, at 8 o'clock. So that essentially, between 8 and 8:30 drop-off, they're in